This episode, the bug list. Well, I was at a customer's home the other day and we were going over their long list of things on their to-do list. So she really had no idea what was prioritized. So I asked her, well, what's bugging you the most, right? The quote bug list. And
You.
that, besides me, Johnny, besides me, but that got the ball rolling. So we thought we'd have a discussion about a bit of a priority on what to do in a bug list and how it can be an advantage as both a homeowner and a handyman. Welcome to the Handyman Pros Radio Show, home improvement and maintenance tips from the pros. Thanks for listening to another edition of the Handyman Pros Radio Show, where our goal is to help save you time, money, and aggravation on your home maintenance and repair. This edition's entitled The Bug List, and as you've already heard, my cheerful co-host and smart arse, basically, Guy is in the background.
Yeah,
Johnny, what's going on this week? Anything exciting been happening in your world?
No, not really. The bug list, right?
Yes.
And I just fixed a big one, And
For yourself?
For myself.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Fixed a big one and had to replace the windowsill. It's been bugging me for 2 years now.
See?
And I had all these other things, and every time I walk by it, I'm like, this thing's gone. It's gone. I got to get rid of it. So,
all right. So before we dive into this one, if you would please, folks, if you would like or subscribe to our shows, both podcasts and or on YouTube, if you'd like to see our faces, we are out there on YouTube. But this helps get the word out so that we can attract other people that might have issues similar to ours and or yours. We hope anyway. And by the way, Johnny and I are reworking a format on this thing. It's basically two guys sitting around a bar talking about fixing this stuff at their house. So I hope that's the way we try to present it. We hope it's fun and entertaining. So anyway, with that, Johnny, the bug list. Let's talk about the bug list. Like you just did yours. I try to do my stuff on a pretty much regular basis so that things don't bug me. But how many things, folks out there, to our listeners, have been on your bug list that you have yet to address? I guess that's one of the questions, right? So
yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things that I walk by every single day. The cobbler shoes are always last, but
give some examples. Just throw some examples out there.
Loose wall outlets.
Yeah.
That is the one. That's one that they continually something always occurs why they come loose or whatever. Because you're always plugging in, especially when I'm plugging in the vacuum and stuff like that. In and out. It's like, oh my god. That windowsill though was and I've got another thing too, is that I've got some brick molding that's starting to go around the garage.
Yeah,
that's on my list.
Yeah,
and I don't know why I don't do it.
Well,
I mean, it's going to take me all of 15 minutes to cut a piece out and replace it with some PVC and be done with it.
Because
but you know what? I walk by it every day and I say to myself, that thing needs to be fixed. So does it get fixed? No.
How do you determine what's actually you're alluding to it, but it's the same thing. One of the things is just how do you identify your bug list, right? And one of the things that I always my highest priority items that come to repair are the things that I use the most on a daily basis, right? So for me, when a doorknob comes loose, I fix that thing because I cannot stand having to jostle a door
exactly.
to get it to close, right? It's the things that you touch every day. I want to mention this because I think if you're a homeowner, do you repair those things quickly? And if you're a handyman, do you ask your customers those questions? Do you say, what are the things that you use every day? Because when it comes to priorities, when I'm dealing with my customers, I want the things that they're dealing with all the time, because that makes the greatest impact on their life, right?
Yeah.
If you think about it, right? It's like some of those things are just the things that I always tell this story because it has to do with a doorknob. I'm going into this guy's basement, and I literally have to lift up on the door to get the door open. And long story short, I did that about 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, this is really a pain in the neck,
Yeah.
And so And I looked at it, and in the quick look at it, I'm like, this is nothing than just a very minor adjustment. So I didn't tell the customer that I was going to do it, and I fixed it. I just fixed it because I was sick of
Hmm.
it myself, and I didn't live there, right? So didn't tell the customer, didn't charge them anything extra because I was there on a daily rate anyway. So it really didn't matter, and it only took me, gosh, I don't even think it took 10 minutes. Like he didn't see me even do it. Driving home, right? Phone rings. It's the customer. I'm like, oh, great. What did I forget? What did I do? Right? Calls me up. He goes, oh my God, you fixed the door to the basement. I've been living with that for 20 years. I was like, 20 years of that nonsense? I mean, I didn't say
Yeah.
that, but I was thinking it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I made a difference in that guy's life. Like I changed a 20-year-old problem that took me like literally not even 10 minutes. I mean, I just loosened it up and moved it down a little bit, the doorknob, that was it. And it fixed it. And folks, the point is, if you're a handyman, ask your customers. If you're a homeowner, don't put up with that stuff for 20 years.
That's a very valid point. Ask your customers.
Yeah, ask your customers.
Yeah,
what
bugs you? I mean, listen, you and I were both doing that laundry room refit, and
yep.
What was the bug list there? Those pictures were on the floor for 10 years. I mean, it's stuff like that, right?
Yeah, it's just
so
it gets put off, whatever, right?
Yeah. So how do you rectify that, right? I mean, how do you? One of the things that I found for my own self is that I can have a list, and I know these things need to be done, but I never do them.
Right.
I'll tell you what motivates me. I don't know why. I put it on a reminder on my phone, and that thing keeps coming up and bugging me. It bugs me.
The bug
and
list
so when
you.
I put something on that list, it gets done because
Yeah.
it keeps up, and I'm like, I put it there for a reason. I mean, I stick it on there for a reason, and then all of a sudden, it comes up, and then I do it. And I mean, that's just how I motivate myself to get these things done.
I motivate myself just because I basically I get sick of things. Like you're talking about those outlets when they get loose. I don't ever let an outlet get loose because it's the same thing, right? You got to plug something in and the whole thing moves.
Yeah,
and then of course
that.
I hate that, right?
Yeah.
And me, I'm thinking, great. Did the cover plate just scratch the paint? And I went from a simple, tightening of a screw or maybe putting a shim in, to tighten it up to now I have to paint the wall to make it look right. Yeah, that's a freaking no.
Or, what I'm thinking about is, how are those wires doing in the back as they're getting pulled back and forth? and I'm like, that's not, am I going to come home to a match or what?
And speaking, I was watching a video yesterday. Was it a video? Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's a guy had a shop, right? And he had an electrical fire in his shop, in his wood shop, right? And I think it's on it's on the handyman. It's on handyman at Handyman Pros for our Facebook page. But anyway, he has this wood shop and had an electrical fire in the wood shop, and it was a real like a fire. It didn't burn his shop down, but he was in the shop, and it didn't explode, but it was like whoof, right? Come to find out, the sawdust.
Oh yeah,
had
I was
lit
just gonna
up
say.
In the outlets, right? And so as he's making this video, he's like, yeah, we're taking the outlet covers off every 6 months now and vacuuming those bad boys out. He said, I opened up all of my outlets, and he goes, I couldn't believe how much dust was in there. So those are little maintenance items, but it's kind of one of those things you're talking about a fire, and he must have had just a little bit of an arc, and that super fine dust
that'll do it.
It lit up, right? And he's very fortunate that he didn't have a major problem, but kind of a light bulb moment that to do it. But yeah, those are the bugless things. I mean, folks, if you're not fixing your bugless things, think about it. If you're hiring a handyman, keep a list of what those bug list items are, just because, say, geez, I really need this fixed, or I really need that fixed, just any of that stuff. Because for most of us as handymen, as professional handymen, most of these repairs are seconds. Like we're talking about loose outlets. It's really, it's a very, very
it's
simple.
It's a pretty quick, simple fix.
Yeah,
But
and
it
but
is
it,
one of those things you need to keep your arms around because that it can be dangerous, and it's just you know.
yeah,
But
that one can be
not
dangerous
only,
for
but
sure.
that it does bug me.
Yeah, it's a bug list. Yeah, I mean, I had this one. I was like, we're gonna do the bug list because this customer. And speaking of bugs, this was another one too. When I prioritize, this is just for me, but I do it for my customers as well. I was telling you right before the show. Went to a customer's house. She had a big to-do list to do, which was fine. We're talking about priorities, and at the very bottom of her priority list was, can you kill the wasps that are nesting up on my house? And I said, yeah. And we in the conversation I talked about it. I'm like, yeah, sure, we can do that. That's not a big deal. Well, I've got a 20-foot pole. I can knock them down off the house. Blah blah blah. She says, oh well, that's good because I'm allergic.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so for me, because it's a true safety issue, that went to the head of the list. That was the first thing I did. I
unless
went out
un,
and got rid of all the wasps.
unless it's like a massive hornet's nest, and then it's like, yeah, that's beyond me.
Okay, that's a different one. Speaking of that, actually, this client
I had one in a tree, in the bush. Remember, I
I
got stung when I was cutting the bush, and that thing was the size of a basketball with those bald-faced hornets in there.
the paper, yeah, I call them
And,
paper horns. I was at
yeah, no, they
my
were, yeah,
customer's
these
house.
things were massive, and I was like, holy mackerel.
Yeah, my customer's house this week. I go in there and she's got Terminex in there, right? And the guy's putting on the bee suit, and I'm like, "What the heck's
Oh
going
yeah,
on?" And I go out and she goes, go out and look on the porch on her deck. And on her light fixture on the deck was the beginnings of one of those paper hornet's nests. It was probably the size of a little bigger than a grapefruit, right? But pretty good. I mean, big enough, right? And it was going to end up being
yeah,
huge, right? So he's out there getting the freaking hornets out of there. I was like, whoa, hey,
yeah.
yeah.
No, that's yeah. Well, that one came after me. I ran out of my shoes actually.
Screaming like a little girl. That's
Yeah,
what
that
I
thing
like to
hit
say.
me in the stomach right through my shirt.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
hurt.
that thing must have been as big as my thumb. That was
Yeah,
unbelievable. Anyways,
anyway,
but
yeah,
yeah,
anyway.
so that's a good one, Larry. Is that those outlets, that windowsill, that wood rot,
Yeah,
that
it's
kind of
just the
stuff
things
just
that
bugs
bug
me.
you.
And what determines it is I use it every day, or I walk
Yep,
by it every day,
every day.
and I see it, and nothing's getting done.
Yeah, I have one that I actually won't replace, right? It happens to be in my toilet room, and when I'm in doing my morning reading, the drywall in the corner, the guy did a lousy job doing the drywall in the corner, and it's wavy. And I'm like, really, dude? Every day I sit there and I look at it and I go, and I'm not going to repair it because then I'd have to paint the whole wall. And when I get ready to paint that room, I'll do it. I'll fix the drywall, but it's just on my butt. It's like, really?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
really every day, just it's that same thing visually or the things that you use. Some of the other things that I mean, I jump right on these things like probably like you do, but a loose faucet, that's another one. It only takes a second to fix it, but it's like you go and turn the faucet and the whole thing moves. You're like, no, I'm not doing this anymore.
yeah. Right.
No, this is not happening, and that has the potential to loosen up the pipes and make a leak. Anyway, the bottom line here is write these things down. Like Johnny says, I just write stuff down. And when you want something to do because you're bored, go fix it.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
fix it. Or if you're a
Well,
handyman, ask your clients
well,
what bugs them.
I think the way I like to look at it is that, boy, how nice that would be to be off my list, and I don't have to look at it anymore. Or I've got a fixture that the fixture's old. The light bulbs are they're fine, but the bulbs don't come on because the fixtures the sockets broken up or whatever. Just
Yeah.
and it's
Time
like
for a
it's just
replacement.
as a contractor type of thing. I'm like, can't we just get some new fixtures? I got it, so that's on my list. But every time I go
That sounds
in,
like an issue with your other half.
I know, but
buddy.
every time I go into the room, and I flip it on, one of the light bulbs is out in that thing, so I'm always playing with it. I'm like, why don't I just buy a new fixture? So, and
Because
then
you're
I got to look
Johnny.
at it. Yeah, now the way I look at it now is like, boy, wouldn't it be nice if I just had some new fixtures in here? Now, I mean, how long does it really take to put fixtures? A
I
light
did one yesterday. It took me about 15 minutes to put a light fixture up.
over the top of a sink or something. It's like,
Yeah, same
really,
thing.
what am I waiting for? This has gone on for like 30 years. It's like,
Johnny, there's a reason, but I'm not going to tell
Well,
everybody you're cheap. That's all I'm saying,
well, what it came down to is what now it's been, what color do you want to change all the
Oh, that's a
faucets?
whole different thing. Oh
So
my God.
that's been holding us up so finally, we made a decision the other day, and I said, thank God that's all, let's just go ahead and get it done, because I want to replace the faucets and stuff. And
Yeah,
that's another thing on my bug list. I'm like, anyways, so
Johnny, you've been busy doing deck repairs for the last 6 months. Come on.
well, that is true.
All right, folks.
So
I think we've put enough information in on this one. Johnny, I know that when that spaceship landed out there, you told him, you said, like every old guy in the whole world, you went out of the front yard and you said, yo, get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn.
Get off.
Shaking your fist. Get off my lawn. But okay, Larry.
Well, with that, that signifies the end of the show. We would like you to please like and subscribe our show. It helps to get the words out. If you do have any questions, comments, or concerns, send us an email, questions@handymanprosradio.com, and we will respond. If you have any ideas for shows too, let us know, because we've honestly, we would love to answer a whole ton of questions. If you have in the weeds questions, ask us. Like if you want to really learn how to do something, tell us. We'll make a show about it. We've got lots of great information that we've picked up over the years, and we would love to share our knowledge with you. So with that, Johnny, take it away.
All right, folks. Well, now you got your takeaways here. Ask your customers about their bug list. Put your list together. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time on the Handyman Pros Radio Show.